Building anything in Minecraft requires a lot of blocks. Normally we make our way underground, minecarting slowly, breaking blocks, and my home's a mess. This is fine and all, but I'm on a quest to build a city in this hardcore world, and I want to tell a story beyond the Minecrafty levels of resource gathering. Today I'm building my stone storage facility to house all of the different types of stone blocks in this game inside of a massive quarry to tell the story of how stones were acquired to build this city. Now leave a like and subscribe, as less than 40% of you watching my videos are actually subscribed, so be sure to double check, as YouTube might have actually unsubscribed you. I already have this massive hole in the landscape, and it would be rather dumb of me not to use it for the quarry. But I do want to open it up a little bit more before building. And as always, it's time to set up the beacon. Oh, spruce trees and bamboo, you have served me so well since episode 1, but nearly 2,100 days later, it's time for the resource gathering spot to go. And that's a lot of spruce wood. Before the digging starts, I definitely need to repair my shovel. So back into the end we go. The upper section now just has stone left removed to open up the area, and this should be pretty quick. Come on, it's so close. Let me break the block. This is a pretty good sized spot, but I think I want to go bigger. Like clearing out this entire section of the cavern. Quarry, cave, hole in the ground thing. Yeah, let's go with big hole in the ground. Things are looking really good so far, but I don't really want these overhangs. So I want to try cutting this back even further. I'm already in full destruction mode, so I might as well keep going. Spending another few hours digging out the pit and revealing a massive area to start building inside. Whoa, wait, look at that. Oh, it's a dungeon. Zombie spawner? How have I not found this before? I can see my house from here. But free name tags. Don't worry, I didn't forget. As with every hardcore episode, I plant a new field inside of this world. And as we're building a massive city, we need food to feed the people. So it actually makes sense to do this now. Just like you subscribing makes sense if you like the videos, so double check that you're subscribed. And there we have a brand new potato field. I want to add so many more trees around here, but that'll have to be for a stream later on, as I need to focus on the quarry for now. The first problem I have is, how do I walk down into the hole? For this, I'd like to bring a new road from the starter mine down along the edge. And this brings us all the way down here to the base of the pit, where I've got a lot of terraforming to do still, but it's at least a start. Next, taking some of the stone I already mined out, I want to create some large geometric shapes as if the workers mined out huge chunks out of the ground. The test area is looking very good. Now to connect the rest of the road to the ground, which is now done as well, but things are looking a little flat texture-wise. So I want to try adding in a bit of tuff, just to bring in a few shadows throughout. With a rock-solid plan in mind, it's time to finish plotting out this quarry. But just like ogres, quarries have layers, and we need to build that into the plan. For this, I want to bring a road roughly along here that is smooth enough for heavy carts to travel, creating a bit of a terrace out of stones along this way, and the road can continue up here, up that way, and off there, with another bit of a terrace section back in here. I got to work flattening out the first layer to make it easier to add some details in, working in the roadway first. Next up, I want to take the stones idea that we used over here and bring that in along this entire edge as well. With that section done, I can keep clearing away blocks on the next layer. This should do for here. Now I need to figure out how to get the road going up to this next point without it sticking out too much. Maybe for this one, I bend it around this way instead of a straight line. That should work. I just need to clean it up a lot more. I finished up this little side over here and the retaining wall, but we'll decorate it out further later, as I have a lot more blocks to break. Hopefully for the last time today, I cleared out more of the stone in the hole to set the stage for future builds to be added in, then moving forward with adding in a lot of the quarried stones to set the layers apart. Okay, it's finally time. I've really got to get this beacon out of here. It's serving as a great storage room, but it is so in the way. With that done, we'll leave the shulkers floating for now, but I want to get all of the roadways in. And there we go, the floor is now all dirty. Moving into the first physical build today, I started crafting up a ton of materials, gathering up a load of aged copper and tons of spruce, as I want to add in a big lift for the heavier carts to get out of the quarry where the horses might not be able to pull them up the steeper pathway. Starting with a massive wooden structure to house the lift, I want to reinforce the sides and connect them all together. Then using some large copper wheels at the top to give it a mechanical aspect for the build. Creating a second structure to hold a counterweight in here to raise the lower levels of this lift over 9,000. I've already added in the lift platform itself for the carts to go up, and originally I was thinking about using grindstones for the chains, but they're a little too big. So instead I want to use actual chains. And a nice barrel with a lamp. The shape of this right now is boring, to put it lightly. So I want to add in some ladders stretching around as different support areas and ways to access some upper levels of the quarry. This way we can start to break up the boxy rectangular shape we have so far and add a little bit more interest with some new colors. It's still all brown, but it's a start. But with this one, we are connected all the way up to the top. Well, mostly. You can squeeze through there. This will have to do for the second side, as I don't quite know what I want to do with the face yet. But I do know that I need some light sources down here, as it's getting rather spooky. This should make it a little bit safer down here, but I've gathered so many shulker boxes of stone out of this quarry that I think it's about time to build a place to store them all. The quarry is currently very gray with all of the stone, so I'd like to give this storage room a pop with some color. First, I'm gonna need a lot of pumpkins. Next up, some orange wool. I'm gonna need a load of orange dye as well to craft orange concrete powder, where about half of this needs to turn into concrete. Then, of course, like every other building, back over to the lumber mill to get a bunch more wood and craft a ton of spruce trapdoors. The last item on the list before we can get building, we need light gray terracotta to cook into light gray glazed terracotta. All of the materials I need are inside of these shulker boxes, and I want to start by outlining the base of this structure. To give ourselves more space, I want to push this back up against the wall, but I think we need to clear out a little bit more space in here for the build itself. Next up, to give an indoor-outdoor feel, to really bring in the warehouse vibes, I want to assemble these large archways going all the way across and then building on top of it. Next, with these two little holes we've dug out, I want to make them look like small doorways, where we can add some dark oak in the back. And a door to nothing. With the base room done, I got to work building out a chimney and etching out the mountainside to make space for the roof of the storage room. From here, I built up the front doorway, adding on the trim for the roof and placing in a fake window. Then some color, adding in glazed terracotta with some copper to contrast all of the warm wood tones, before finishing off the final roof outlines. The final major element for this build is adding in the roof itself. For this, I want to use a gradient, starting from some darker oranges, working our way up into the lighter colors, where we end up with a little something like this. And that is gonna pop really well against the quarry. The rest of the roof is now in place, and I've been working on some of the final details, like another little lift because I apparently can't get enough. So we can take a chain all the way up to here, chisel deep slate inside, and bring it all the way out to connect them, and some stripped dark oak with another grindstone right there. Adding in this little lift makes me want to add a bunch more of them throughout the entire quarry to really make this look like a work zone. But first, we've got to tackle the inside, because right now it's not much of a storage room. To make a storage room to last the entire hardcore series, I need a lot of space, as I have too much stone. But to avoid a stupidly large building, I need to go underground with this one. We've got 6 different rooms for different stone types and overflow chests in the center, and plenty of space for a shulker monster in the middle. Wait, what? No. Before we add in any of the chests, I want to add some hidden lighting throughout the back with frog lights. Then mud bricks and packed mud around. Next, so that I can still open the chest, but it looks like they have a ceiling above them, we add in slabs. With that done, next up I just need to start adding in all of the chests, which is gonna be a lot. And this was already 2 stacks of chests. Oh, I'm gonna need a lot of wood. We empty the wood storage room to create the stone storage room. And back to placing in the rest of the chests. With all of the chests in place, we can move forward with detailing a touch here, where each one of these cubbies of sorts is going to be decorated on the floor corresponding to the stone types that'll be in there. First, we have stone and stone brick. Next to the cobblestone, we'll have deep slate, which will all be bleeding out into the central area that I don't know what I'm doing with quite yet. Next, we have bricks and granite, diorite and andesite. Lastly, a section for tuff and dripstone. Now, as we need it, if any of these fill up, I have an overflow chamber back here that needs some chests inside, but first we can decorate everything else. I've lowered the center down to see over the eventual shulker monster and decorated out the floor with a bunch of dirt. From here, we can start to make this not look like such a box. And I want to come through and detail out the sides the same way we did inside each of the stalls. It's almost time to move the items in and clear out a lot of this shulker monster, but first I want to finish decorating. For this, I'm gonna need 18 looms, 60 note blocks, and a few oxidized copper slabs. The outside currently looks really good, but the inside is a little lacking. Starting with a trim of stripped dark oak logs around the top, and one right across the middle. From here, we can actually remove a little bit of the mud that we added in and replace that with our note blocks. Before we finish the center, I thought the looms could go in here as the ceiling. Adding in the ceiling, I created 2 different sections to make sure the room feels like it was grand and needed a lot of extra support to it. And because I have way too much of this stuff, let's grab some obsidian and make ourselves some ender chests. I'm gonna need a whole storage room just for obsidian soon, but these can go in the corners. So like every good Minecrafter, I'll bring my own in and set it down in here. I've got some chests to finish off this last section in here too, which will all be for overflow goodies, so I don't even know what I'm gonna put back here yet. But now it is finally time to move items into the storage room, because in mining out this quarry, I already have 8 more shulker boxes full of stone, and the goal is to get shulker boxes back out of this, so I need to empty them into the chests. I spent over 2 hours sorting my storage, transforming the shulker mess from this to this, and I'm much happier, and definitely on team we need an inventory update. Yes, I know there are still some shulkers out here, but feast your eyes upon this. Empty shulkers everywhere. I almost cleared 54 shulker boxes worth of junk. So much stone, cobblestone, and it feels very, very nice to finally have an actual storage room for stone types. But I've been thinking, I want to bring a bunch of wagons and carts in here, and I keep talking about mules being able to pull carts out of it and everything like that. So I think we need a small stables attached to this guy, and today we're actually going to move some animals around. But if we go right back over here, I think we can use this flatter spot and almost into the wall as a good stables. Getting right into it, I'm building 3 stalls for animals to hang out in the quarry as workhorses or mules in this case, and they deserve a good home because they're the only ones really doing any work around here. I need to bring 3 mules down into the quarry and maybe 1 or 2 over to the city gates as well. So if we come inside here, we've already got 1, but we need a lot more than that. And while these little dudes grow up, but look how cute he is. First, I want to repair my pickaxe because yes, it is scaring me at this point too. Next, I'd like to test something. If I grab light gray wool, I really like the shadow I added in with the tough block, but what about a highlight with a bit of a lighter stone? So I went forward with adding that throughout the entire first section. Mule number 2. Yes! Oh, they're so adorable! Come with me, little ones. First 2 mules are being delivered, and I wanted to bring them over while they were babies because that's the way that I think I can fit them inside of here, and he can definitely get out while he's a baby. Okay, that stays there for now. We now have a 3rd mule down in the quarry, and the first 2 are What? I'm missing a mule. Did he suffocate in the wall? Okay, I need another one. Until number 3 grows up, he can hang out over here. One final step for this corner of the quarry, I need to detail the stones above the stables as its default terrain. Looking back at where I started today, peeling back the first layers of the quarry. The quarry is starting to take shape as the first buildings are added in and the first corner is finished up. However, the rest of the walls of the pit are pretty gross. I must blockify them, and then we have fun with the details. But first, our mule has grown, and hopefully he doesn't suffocate in here this time. Oh, look at him, I love it. Now, thankfully, we've already decided on the style for the rocks, so I just need to build them. First step for this is gonna be grabbing a bunch of stone, and I think we can start over on this section. The upper area is starting to look really good over here, but I've decided I want to take this guy and just send it all the way up, stacking on top of each other. And that'll take us all the way up to the top edge. Now, if I keep building around this with a bunch more of these rocks, it should come together pretty well. I spent an hour terraforming. Yeah, I think this would be considered terraforming the quarry to create the larger rocks, as well as shaping out the remaining corners, and things are really starting to come together and be a full piece of a build here. Pillagers in the quarry. I can't seem to get rid of these, but yeah, they're pointing out I missed a block. Okay, we're gonna leave them. Absolutely ignoring they were ever there. Because again, for another session, I need a lot of tough and a quick trip to the sheep farm or more of the wool. Because as great as this looks right now for the shape, it's really hard to see any detail as it's all the one block. I need to spend a little bit of time adding in the highlights and the shadows. Quarry rocks are now done and dusty, and this wandering trader is really trying to dispose of one of his llamas. Next, I want to finish replacing the walkable areas with some dirt for contrast. Filling up on a bunch more stone, we can make a bunch of pressure plates and buttons to add almost small stones as clutter throughout the quarry. Right now we have a really big hole in the ground with a few buildings, but to tell a story, we need to show life happening inside of here. If you want to take your builds from that, oh, that's pretty cool, to that wow standpoint, this is the most important aspect. I spent a while thinking about what I can include in the quarry to really bring life in here, and I kept coming back to cranes. Really trying to make this feel and look like a workstation where a lot of people are around doing a bunch of different things. Going with a really simple design for this one, we just want an arm stretching out over here, oak trapdoors along the top, and the old grindstones with chains. It looks a little bit lopsided though, so out of the back, we can do something really simple. For a tiny bit of a counterweight or something, and then magic happens and things do. And here we have the first crane of the quarry. This is a big operation though, so I need quite a few different cranes throughout the quarry. But if they're all the same size, it'd be rather boring, so I've incorporated a few different designs to get some variety in here. The other ones we built are great, but I had this large opening over here, so I wanted to add in a huge crane to load the heavy stones onto the transport wagons. Speaking of which, wagons and carts are the next step to bringing life into this area. I'm gonna need a lot of different types of wood to be able to make some interesting designs. As always, too many spruce trapdoors. I'd like to just scatter a few designs for these around the quarry to make it look like things are happening. Here we have the first cart already loaded and ready to be pulled on out of here. Medium-sized cart is ready to be loaded. He's just a little guy. Look at him. He's just a baby. Next to the great lift of getting the heck out of here, we've got two little guys lined up, ready and waiting. Next, crafting up a ton of barrels. I've set out a few locations to add in some like mining supplies of sorts, showing that we really have a lot of infrastructure and things happening around here. But I don't want it to look cluttered, so I'm kind of containing it to a few different areas. Like this one here, I want to have a covered workstation for the quarrymen to get out of the hot sun. So here we can take some smooth sandstone and make it almost as if like there's a tarp coming all the way across. Some nice shelving bits, and I think that'll do it. Everything in here is looking really good at this point, but one small problem. There are mobs spawning everywhere at nighttime. A few lanterns hidden around though should fix it. Hopefully, but when in doubt, glow like an out. Last step, we need to fly in here and grab a little bit of moss carpet. One, to save the darker areas from spawning mobs, but two, we need some green. The quarry is now fully built up, with a storage room built into the upper levels and so much more detail to go around the entire space. But I'm running into a lore problem. In order to get the stones from the quarry back into the city, currently a wagon would have to go all the way down to the river town, back up the hill over to the main gate. Or I get some gunpowder and make a bunch of TNT. Like this bare spot on the wall right here is perfect. If I take some TNT, just dot it along here. Now I just dig down and put a bunch of TNT in. Oh, damn it. Ooh! Oh, get me out of there. Well, let's see how the first two work. Oh, no, bad spot. Oh, I blew up my rocks. But at least we know it's gonna work. Rocks are temporary, pathway is forever. One more time here, and this should do it. Yes, look at it. Oh, we have a path. Next up, with all of the resources that I got from the destruction, I can use it all as a way to plot out the pathway and see how natural of a slope we can get from here towards there. I then exploded a bit more of the rock away, then brought in a load of dirt back and worked a gradient going from dirt all the way up to stone bricks, using packed mud in between, then cleaning up the walls of the new path to make it appear like it's in the quarry. Those walls are all now textured up as well, but currently it's a wide open pathway into the definite city, the big city back here. So we need a little gate and gatehouse to block it off. However, even with all these rocks, I am out of deep slate again. Time to go mining. Might as well try for a few more diamonds down here while we're at it. 14 more diamonds and a load more cobbled deep slate. But it's time to use a bunch of this stuff to create a lot of deep slate. Before I can get building, I need a lot more jungle wood. Somehow I'm always out of this stuff. Okay, emergency side mission, burb. There's a second burb back there. I haven't added any burbs to the burb. Third burb, 3 burbs for the burb tree. First burb, love me, yes. Second burb, third burb, no, that's my burb. Third burb, you 3 sit here, let me get one more tree down. That should be plenty jungle wood. Come on, burbies, let's go home. Oh no, they're knocking all the other burbs off. Sit back down. I hate this bird. I have so much regret bringing this bird home. From there, I went back to crafting all the wooden materials I need for the new build, before running down into the dwarven village to trade for a bunch of lanterns. Everything else I had ready to go here inside of the stone storage room, so this should be everything. For this, I want to keep the same idea from the first gatehouse, so they look like they belong together. So we have our first gate entrance right here, and a second one behind it right there. Inside of it, I don't want to leave the stone in here, so I'm going to replace it all with jungle planks and some strip logs. Inside for the gate itself, we can bring in a few spruce slabs, extend all of the chiseled bricks across, and for this gate, we can just use some acacia trapdoors, so I can at least still kind of fly through it. Yeah. Finishing up the front of the gatehouse, this is heavily inspired by the Eyrie in Game of Thrones, with the quarry being a bit deeper, but coming around to the back, I want to take some walls and levers here to give it a little bit more of a pop. And from here, I can pretty much just copy everything from the front for this section to the back, with a little bit of an overhang. We're just gonna ignore the inside of this mess for now. But look at it! We've got a gatehouse! With the gatehouse finished, the city quarry is now completed. And I have so many stone supplies inside of the new storage room to build up our city. And finally, you can stop yelling at me about the shulker mess that was in front of my house. It's still here, but much smaller. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and please subscribe. This video is releasing while I'm off on my honeymoon after the wedding, so thank you all so very much for the support. And I'll be back to recording videos again soon, so don't forget about me, okay? But I'll catch y'all on the flip side.